Okay guys, we're back with you. We have been doing some taping. We've already sanded this whole thing down to a 400, and then we're gonna hand sand it with 600. You can see we kind of did some guide coating down here, found some lows and did some Bondo work already. It's already dry, ready to go. You know, it's been sanded and with the DA knocked down, so that way when we hit it with the 600 we can block it out, and then just do a quick seal and paint. But I was bringing you over here too because I wanted to show you we used a stud gun and show you we took out the dent here. We took out this dent, and now it's got a few little, like, you know, like where the things were are a little high. So basically I took my sanding disc on my grinder and you knock those down, and then the rest of this I will putty, like it'll be skimmed and reshaped with the Kevlar. Basically I like to use what they have is they call it Bondo 2 by the Bondo company, or body filler. It's mostly referred to as fiber reinforced body filler, and there's a type by, I believe it's Everlast, or I believe that's who it is that makes it, and it has a Kevlar component in it. So when you're doing thin, like layering and like trying to get rid of this rippling from popping the dent and doing the work, you get most of it out. Then you kind of skim coat it and re-sand and block and shape it. Same thing here, we got most of the dent out. Now we just have to come back here, sorry about that, we have to come back and kind of tap with the hammer here or there and fill it and just reshape this lightly. And the reason I'm saying that is you don't, I mean, some people will say you can, but I don't like to I don't like to cake Bondo on someone's, or body filler, let's call it, because it could be Bondo brand or Everlast or whatever. But so body filler, I don't like to cake it super thick, because what happens is if you don't get it just right or something, or whipped together right, and you're not working in smaller amounts and stuff, you could end up with a thick gob, and maybe it doesn't set right, and then you get like where they hit a bump later and it creates a blowout in the paint job. Like it basically just cracks and blows out the whole side, and then it's straight to the metal again. And it damages everything. Then you gotta basically fix that area, you gotta basically blend it back in, and it just creates a whole nother nightmare later if you're painting for people. So I don't suggest people do that at all. It's better to just get a dent puller, pop them, and not try and cake Bondo or body filler or Everlast into it. We came over here, there was a small one here, it only took one little pop. This one only took one or two little pops here. It's still a little low right here, but we're gonna reshape it. And that's basically what you get going. Is this one was a little more difficult, but we can still go this way and reshape it. And I'm gonna point this out too, we're not perfect. The stud gun, so let me point this out. When we were fixing the tailgate inside, which I'm gonna show you guys in a minute, the stud gun, you would touch it and you would pull the trigger. And this is, we bought another one to use in an emergency, because the yellow Vever one I bought burned out, guys. It just sucked. Within 20 minutes it was shot. I bought a better Vever machine that's on its way. I'll do a review on it. But we went and picked up one at Harbor Freight, the Chicago pneumatic, whatever. And on the tailgate, you would hold it down and it would, you would pull a trigger until the safety overheat switch would pop and it would stick perfect on the tailgate. And we had no problem. We had to cut them off and grind them down just like here. And I'm gonna have to, you know, this will be under body filler, so I'm gonna clean that with a Scotch-Brite and some chemical before I do it, the body filler. But anyways, so then we came here, and I think this metal's thinner because I actually had to do a countdown of 6 seconds on each of these, because I thought I was going to do the same thing, just stick it on there, and when the switch popped, the reset switch, it would like be stuck perfect, and that was perfect. But it didn't do that. It burned through on the first one, which I was worried about. So now I have to fill this, and luckily I use the fiber reinforce Bondo because or body filler, because the thing is it's designed for like fiberglass work too. So that's why it has the fibers in there. So if you have a hole like this, it's actually great because it'll go in there and it actually builds a nice, you know, it builds a nice, I mean, that's just one little flaw. I mean, it's not gonna make or break any of this as long as it's whipped in there good. I might have to do it, it might sink in a little and I'll have to hit it again, but that's gonna happen. You know, that's why I try and fan my and feather out my filler really good. But where I have my damage and stuff, what I try to do is I try to you know, put it on a little thicker and then just DA it down to where it looks, you know, clean, like straight, and then I block on it, and then that's when, you know, with some guide coat and blocking, that filler's right, and then you can just seal that, and you don't have to do all that crazy, you know, when you're doing a redo, you don't have to do all that crazy like guide coating the whole thing, because like a lot of this, if you see, it's still the paint. I mean, there's some still clear coat we gotta get off, but it's like there's no clear coat here. This is just to the paint, you know, and this has already been blocked, and this is perfect, you know, even with this little bit of the sealer primer, because that's sealer primer. This dark gray, if you look here, see there's a dark gray ring. That dark gray ring is the layer of the high build. But we wanted to get past that because we want this to, the Bondo or the body filler, excuse me, to be, you know, able to grab better. And then we block it down to this because this is a sealer primer, the lighter stuff, outside the gray ring. So we're perfect here with that sealer primer. As long as this is 600, because we're spraying some flake with pearl in it. We don't want it to get too many aggressive teeth. I think 600 will do good when we're sealing anyway. Because we're gonna, like, this truck has some kind of problematic things that, you know, you may see time to time. And what it is like right here. Let's just get in here. See this clear coat? Even when we were sanding, it started to like crack and flake. It was just going. So, like, it's really bad up here on the door. I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me get a light on it. And it's, as we were sanding, it was just flaking right off. Like, it's super old. Maybe hadn't been waxed in a while and like protected. It was just going. So we took it down, but see, we're only down to that sealer primer, and as long as we stay there, we can still hit that. And like some of these problematic areas, we'll be resealing this. The top of the cab will get resealed, the whole hood, and then any of these major spots where we're doing the body filler, we're gonna reseal, you know. And then like some of this, it'll be skimmed with some body filler because of these little dings. Instead of trying to pop them, we're just gonna fill them and then get some bed liner and build it up here as well, because it's just it's kind of a pain, because when you tack here anyway, what happens is this melts away. We found out because we did it on the tailgate. I'm going to show you guys when we go in. But here we go. We did some more taping here. Obviously we got to blow all this dust out and wash it out before we, you know, actually spray and do the thing. But so here's the tape off on the doors. Well, this one I didn't really do completely all the way right. Let's go over this side, because I gotta redo something on that one that I didn't catch when I did it before. But so here's the tape off on the doors. On the inside, you have right here, I just leave, like this has a piece of plastic or something here, so I'm taping that off. But I leave where the rolled edge is up here. There's like a rolled where the metal for the door skin folds around. I just ride along that line or close to, so that way when I scuff these edges, I can come back here and I can just dust it real good and then roll it over, and then that way my edges won't peel back or roll back, or, you know. And then you got right here, same thing. I just ride the inside of that edge, and then I'll trim it out with the razor if I need to, make it real tight, because the cleaner you are with your taping, you know. I'm gonna come back before I spray. I just did a quick one before we kept sanding again. I cleaned the whole truck already with wax and grease remover, just so that this stuff would stick the best it can. That's another pointer. And you can see here, this is a double door type setup, so, you know, it's got these, that's why I'm showing you guys, like I rode this right here along the edge, where it kind of rolls in, and, you know, just a little bit, just so that way I can blend it, you know. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to cut it here nice, but I'm going to take just the clear coat here by hand, and I'm going to take, and I'm going to just dust it in again and just blend it out this way a little, because inside here is just fine and the color's exactly the same. It's, or close enough to it, that if we do that, and from the outside you're not going to really see in the door jamb anyway. And we're going to dust in here on the bottom, because that's why we're taped off like this, to kind of, we're going to try and do like a blend on the ends, and I'll show you that, because it's not this one, but it's the other one, has some scratches to the metal. And then see, here's the you know, suicide, you know, because it's a suicide 4-door, and then we just taped up into there and made sure that we're not spraying as much of what we think is super clean. We even taped, I gotta show you this, back in here, all the way down the inside of back in here, and just taped it all the way down to where we're blending in there. And we gotta still tape right in here and try and block this when we spray, because we're trying not to hit the hinges or nothing. And we gotta still block in here and block the hinges too, which I could just tuck a piece of paper in there too, you know. And when we do the silver here, we gotta hit it to this lip, so we're gonna tape here right before we do that, and we're gonna bring paper up and across for the silver first. And then this is the main, you know, you plastic off the whole inside too. And this is how you can, this is a 98 Dodge Ram 1500, and it's got the suicide 4-door, you know, and you know, not too hard to paint. It's just a little different to tape off because you have the, you know, the 2 doors, and we need to do some jam work because, like I said, the other side, I can show you guys that real quick before we go into, because we're going to start making our videos a little longer on our adventure. But so right here inside the lip where the, see the silver's here, and then here's the red for the jam. These are some scratches that are all the metal, and what I don't want happening is I don't want rust starting here and then creeping back into what I'm doing. So we're just gonna, and it's only the bottom part, like all the rest of the jam all the way up and down that we taped off is like pristine. There's no sense in hitting it. This is where I messed up on this door. I'll just show you because you guys, I'm not flawless, is I need to tape out here. I taped in here because I was almost thinking I was going to hit these, but then I started looking at them and they were not bad. So we're not hitting these. We're just going to tape this side back off because I thought the other side was bad, so I'd started over here, and then hindsight's 2020. I don't need to spray these. So, but if you want to spray them, this is, I'll show you, this is good anyway, because I'll show you, you tape off like this, come on the inside of the window, down like this, and then you cut down like this, and then when you do your blend, your panel will cover all this down here, and this is right to the rubber seal here, and you just cut it in with your razor real easy, and you basically stay taped to where you're underneath where the plastic door panel is going to be, and that way when you're done, you're gonna cover it back with the door panel, and there's not going to be any weird edge going on, you know. And you also got to factor in if there's stickers, you know, for stuff, you're gonna have to cover those like we covered here. This is the where you get the paint code and everything. Like I said, this is a four-door suicide. It's got the other one here. These windows flap out, so you flap them out, and then you tape on the back side. You back mask all the way around like this and fold it over the front, and then I tape my plastic and stretch it around, and then, you know, tape the edge, make sure everything's trying to stay. Some of this, I'm using a medium adhesion tape. That I wanted to use that because I don't want something that's going to stay forever, but I don't want it to like come loose like super fast. But for some reason, where we don't get snow, almost never, we got snow this week and some really bad weather. But luckily we've designed this booth where we can heat it, and our next upgrade is right there. I'll show you this way. Between each of these poles, we're gonna hang 3 lights on each side, so 6 lights. We'll run a cord up to a main like box, and we'll do it all professional because I do electric work, and we will make sure everything's sealed. And we're gonna do some lighting to light it up in here when we work in here, instead of having to always be no light. But also, this isn't going to be a paint booth for long. This is just something we're doing right now. We're gonna, once the wife's 49 runs, we're gonna switch this just to doing like repairs, and we're gonna only do that out here, and then we're gonna insulate the shop and build a paint booth inside the shop instead, because I think it'd be a lot better, because the insulation will deaden the noise and stuff a lot better, and it'll be less dust and whatever. And we're getting ready to do body filler on that stuff, but I'm gonna bring you in here and show you what we just did. So we just did some body filler, and where the wife's Plymouth there is, we're gonna build. We're gonna basically, I'll stand here and you can see that light switch. I have it's written over here, it says wall, and there's gonna be a wall that runs up, attaches that, and goes all the way across, and we're gonna have from the trike here, from that wheel basically just inside it and over, is gonna be a big huge paint booth, and we'll just do like a drop cloth on this side between the toolboxes and stuff, and then right here where the 49 is, we'll just pull her out when she's done. We'll be able to pull her outside, and this is if we don't move right away. We'll just pull her outside, and then we'll put a car in here and get her done, and we'll park this somewhere, you know, like over in the rocks, or I'm not worried, we got cameras anyway. So we're in here doing the tailgate. I taped off this. I can show you guys another trick in a minute, but I taped off here, and I want to show you this under a light. I got a headlamp on because I have poor lighting. There's a dent here too, and this is where we melted it trying to tack right next to it. So I'm letting this dry, and then I'm gonna, here, let me change this light angle or something, because it's not really the best. Maybe this light isn't the best. I got a flashlight too instead of a headlamp. But the thing is I build it up when it's bad enough, and you sand it down, and then you re-skim and build again. And I'll show you exactly why. Is right here, you can see, even though I took my big metal one, you know, I mean, you know, it's probably what, 5-6 inches wide, and I came like this, you can see right here, it's still sunk in here a little where the damaged areas are. I built this up even more with some extra from over here after this kind of set a little, but right here is an honest, I mean, look, this is almost dry. I'm gonna heat gun this because it's cold, and we don't have a wood stove. I have a shop heater I use. I think we did a video on buying that. I don't remember, but we'll sand it and get all the way back down to like a 400, see where it's at. And then what we don't like, we'll basically re-skim it again. And eventually what happens is, on the really bad stuff, if you work it once, twice, you know, whatever you gotta do on jobs like this, couple good times, you're gonna get that out, you know, because basically we pulled it. This was just really minimal. It may be gone when we sand, it may just be showing through, and when we get it down it might be gone, but I doubt it. So I'm just showing you that it doesn't always go right the first time either, but you stick with it. You get this to dry as quick as you can. Let me tell you though, I do this all the time, and I use a heat gun a lot for a lot of stuff I do. I do flooring with them. I use a heat gun for, you know, like automotive repairs, because like on some of your transmissions, they glue the plugs together with an adhesive and you have to heat them to get them apart. I think I did a video on it, I don't remember, but anyway, when you heat gun this, you gotta go evenly. I recommend this Wagner. This thing's done me justice, and it comes with this nice tip like that, so it fans out the heat. You get multiple tips in there, and it's a digital read, so it's really nice. You can micromanage all the way from 100 degrees to 1300 degrees, and I go about 1300 or 800, or I even sometimes go around 2, 4, 6. I usually keep my numbers on evens because that's just how I work mentally. But you heat gun this evenly. Don't get too close. Don't do it right away is the number one thing, is don't do it right away. Let this set on its own chemically for a little bit. Let some of the fumes come off. Don't get too close if you're heating it. Heat it, get off of it, let it set, come back, heat it, get off it, let it set. Because if you heat this too much and you overheat it, what's going to happen is all the chemicals on the underside, they're going to bubble and come escaping, and they're going to bubble through and leave a bunch of holes in this. That's not good, because then you got glaze putty all your holes in, and it's a whole nother nightmare. So what I've learned, because I did this and I made a mess out of some stuff doing it, is I've learned is just let it set. When it starts to get hard enough like this, then heat it a little at a time. Do not overheat this. It will ruin your whole project, ruin your day. But you can speed it up. That is a pointer. A lot of people say, oh, this, that, and the other. Let me tell you guys, okay? Materials, math, and science. That's it. That's why, you know, it's very, you know, chemical reaction. Heat is a catalyst. Okay, guys, we're not oblivious to doing our own projects. We're not oblivious to, we grow up learning these things in school. You just gotta see it in a more simple fashion instead of complicating everything mentally if you do that to yourself. I'm not saying anybody does, but if you do, that's a good pointer too, is don't overcomplicate stuff. Just get it done. Because you will just mentally, you can cost yourself money, because something like this you could do at home. If you have a garage, you know, say someone hits your car, your insurance company pays you out like, I don't know, whatever, because, you know, personally, I think that's the worst thing about life right now is insurance companies. I'm not going to bash any names, but home warranty insurance, I've claimed things through both and been turned down on legit claims, because I do structures and building, and I know how to use engineer's ruler and design plans and build metal shops. And I mean, I built a 30 by 50 metal shop by myself with minimal help, and I did it in, you know, 2.5, 3 weeks. Didn't do any videos. I wasn't doing YouTube stuff back then, but I have a lot of pictures of my work from, you know, stuff I've done tattoo wise and all kinds of stuff. But here's another pointer right there. See that thing? You won't see a lot of painters that got, I mean, they might, but I don't ever see them using one. My granddad built models for a living and painted little things, and let me tell you, he always used this. And that's why it always sticks out in my head, because I remember 6 years old, 7 years old, my granddad down in Half Moon Bay by San Francisco, he was in the Navy. He was a really high up there, but anyways, nonetheless, he always had this sitting next to his chair. Also had like a, he always had the, I think it's called a protractor or whatever. It makes circle lines. Can't remember. Compass, you know. You can draw circle lines and stuff. He was into like maps, and he liked little things. Taught us how to make kites with popsicle sticks and origami paper, and you know. But he always had this, because if you're trying to do small details, that tip right there, let me tell you guys, is a lifesaver. So anyways, another good trick, and I'm going to give away this pointer, is when you come along this line here, I don't worry about taping this perfect, because I like to come back with this razor, and you come back in here, and when you cut in here, it also kind of tucks the paper or the tape and pushes it up against the bottom of this lip a little. And then you come back with your nail on your thumb, and you go like that and push it on the edge again. And then to get that tape out that you cut in there, because this saves you a lot of time, because I could run this along this edge real quick. But then you just come back like this, backwards, not with the blade, see? Not with the sharp edge, but you turn the blade, instead of cutting, you turn around backwards, and it will pull that tape right out of there. I didn't show it in a video. I didn't make a video on it. I'm kind of in a, I'm behind, because the, like I said, whatever Vever stud gun broke, so we had to buy this one. And we have another Vever brand, because I still have faith in the Vever brand with certain things. Their lower end stud gun that we showed you, it's a no-go, okay? So the one we got coming has plenty of reviews. We're just gonna do like an initial review, like I said, and then in a year, we'll do some reviews on like how products are doing. That way people who are planning in the future maybe to buy stuff, they can come back and say, okay, they had it this long and it works good still. Because we'll be using them time to time throughout those years. You know, we don't buy tools and they just sit, because I work for myself. So the razor blade, that's the other pointer. And the Vever that we purchased, if you guys want to purchase one or look it up, I will let you know ahead of time, is when you're buying a stud gun, I'm going to save you a little time now so you don't just run out and buy one like I did. If you want a lower end one that's really professional, buy the G90E by Vever. It is only, so the little yellow one I bought, $200, it broke. Not the greatest design on those ones. Not gonna say nothing bad. I'm not bashing Vever, because I have one of their exhaust fans as well, which I'm planning on possibly buying one more, because you know, I want to have two eventually for more ventilation on the booth. But in the same sense, that is not a good product. Personally, I don't think, for their build on that. It comes with a lot of great accessories and high-end parts, but the stud gun itself needs some improvement. And until they improve it, I don't recommend it. I recommend the Vever G90E. It looks more professional. It's actually, if you look it up, it looks kind of like a little MIG welder, or like a plasma cutter, like my plasma cutter under there. It looks like that, but it has different attachments, so you can, and it's digital, and it doesn't just do dent pulling. It will also, it's a combo. It does dent pulling, and it does tack welding with low heat, some type of option like that. It's got like a low heat tack weld, and we will show you that when it comes in. anyways, peace, prosperity, all that good stuff to you guys. Hope life doesn't beat people down too much, and I hope we can help. You know, like our channel says, we're here to try and help society and people in general, you know, humanity become a little bit better, because I believe the good comes in the doing, not just the saying. So that's why we started making these videos. Plus, I feel like this is kind of like building a journal for your kids when you're gone. They can come back and, you know, see what you've done, hear your voice, kind of interact with you when they miss you, you know. So that's something else to think about if you guys, I mean, I'm not doing this to make no money. I don't care. I'm not trying to be famous, you know. I do my own thing. I'm famous in my own way with my own people that want my work done, you know. And that's fine by me. The rest of the world don't have to know me. The Milwaukee box, killer box. We've had it a while. Recommend it highly. Every now and then you gotta fix the drawer if it gets off when you pull them all the way out and remove them. Sometimes you go to put them back in and you'll have to readjust the self closing slides before you put it in, you know. But other than that, no issues. It's a great box. I would not go spending thousands on snap-ons and stuff. Honestly, I would just go to these gentlemen, get the pegboard backs and all the good stuff with it, the power strips on the inside outsides. They got bigger ones too that go with it. You're gonna save $15,000, $20,000, $30,000, trust me, and you'll get all the room you need, just like a snap-on with a name brand, just in a different area. But Milwaukee, from what I've noticed, is starting to get into mechanic tools as well, because they have a line of wrenches now as well and stuff like that. So they may have for a long time, but you just never hear about it because of Craftsman and Snap-on and Mac, and you know, which are all good brands. I'm not cutting on them, but prices are prices too, guys. So, all right, peace and prosperity. Down with the haters, up with the participators, all that good stuff. Go, go, go. Get it, and life will always get better, guys.